everyone, welcome to the Movie Section Show. My name is Fariba, and as you can see, I'm in a different location, and that's just because I am a bit behind on the Andor episodes. I decided to, maybe record the remaining 2 episodes in my room, so that way I can actually get these in before the finale drops. But yeah, I mean, from what we remember from the last episode, we know that apparently there was a person who did complete their session, their prison session, only to be placed in a different level, and then eventually there was an uprising that happened and all that sort of thing, right? And basically what they've learned is that, well, no matter what, even if they were to complete their whole serving period, they're not getting out. They're never going to leave that prison area for the rest of their life. They're stuck there. So it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how the uprising, because I'm assuming there's going to be an uprising at this point, how they're going to try and deal with that. And yeah, and it's definitely going to be interesting. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with episode 10 of Andor. Oh, he looks super angry. Oh.
We need to go tomorrow. They're afraid. Right now, they're afraid.
Afraid? Afraid of what?
They just killed 100 men to keep them quiet.
That's true.
What would you call that?
I'd call that power.
Power doesn't panic. The day we wait, they get stronger.
It might be wise to have a plan.
We have
like
a plan.
Oh.
You and
Sounds
Bono
like a
and Melcy.
rebellion.
You don't have time to be stupid.
Come on!
I'd rather die trying to take them down than die giving them what they want.
Oh, sounds like a true rebellion. Oh.
We won't have a better day. And send back
He
a man who's
looks
just been
pissed.
released.
Oh my god.
They fried 2 shifts to keep it quiet.
One is getting out!
Very blunt.
So let's get our heads back in our cells and start figuring this out.
Finally.
Take an interest. That is exactly what we will do.
This is like a donut hole in a donut hole. If you all know what that reference is from.
I have a 14-year-old son. I'd like to bring him with me.
Are you gonna propose a marriage by any
You
chance?
can't be serious.
I'm not asking for betrothal.
And what
Ah.
are we talking about?
An introduction. My daughter's 13. She'll soon come of age. 2 young
Okay.
people, attractive and privileged Chandrillan citizens.
Don't die till you put up a fight.
Sounds like a rebellion.
One way.
Hands on your head, eyes front, feet down.
Oh my god, this guy's shaking.
Get moving!
He's super wet.
The target! Where you
Oh, he read the message. Oh shit. Oh.
We have a situation on 5-2D. Repeat, we have a situation.
Hey. Hey. That's a Cassian, I know.
We need to hold the level!
Let someone else do that.
They're like literally getting every level.
There's nobody there.
You shouldn't be here.
Turn it off.
Excuse me?
Turn it off!
That could mean so many things.
He made it very clear.
I'll turn off. Step away.
Enough guards, and they know it. If we wait until they figure that out, it'll be too late. We will never have a better chance than this. And I would rather die trying to take them down than giving them what they want.
Hell
We know they fried 100 men. There's another time! One way out! One way out! One way out!
yeah. Sounds like a leader to me.
One way out! What?
Can't swim.
Can't swim!
Oh no.
We're 215. We'll have privacy. We're running express. First of all, congratulations.
Oh, wow, he's mole.
On what?
Your daughter, healthy, beautiful. You must be pleased.
Donnie.
Dead Ramiro.
There was an incident on Ferrex a few months ago. She thinks there's a link. She's been tearing the place apart. They're searching for a thief and the middleman.
Huh? Axis.
She's gathering interest. Partagas likes her.
Oh, this is good. Everything!
He told you.
Just stay with me, Lonnie. I need all the heroes I can get.
So that was the 10th episode of Andor, which means we now have about 2 more left to go. But yeah, this was quite an insane episode. I mean, I anticipated that there was going to be a rebellion of some sort, and we really just saw here kind of everything just really going down. Just for one part, seeing how we're really seeing more of Kino Loy and just being that leader, that voice that the prisoners needed to encourage them to stand up against the guards and just instructing them what to do. And again, I think one of the best things about that whole performance is, of course, coming from Andy Serkis. I mean, I've never really seen a lot of his work before, but because he does a lot more of the motion caption sort of roles than we really see in terms of on-screen appearances. But this is probably one of the few times where I've actually really seen him just manifest just his talents on the big screen, or a small screen in this case. And he absolutely just he was just wow. It's really, I mean, it's hard for me to really describe just kind of how Serkis really just puts into his performance, just giving it all basically in this performance, just being this really angry, because for one thing, this is a guy who was following the rules. He was the manager who was keeping an eye on his people and making sure that nothing goes wrong, as long as he followed the rules, that he'll be able to get out once his sentencing ends. And after everything that happened in last episode, we now see that there's just that really rage-filled person that we didn't get to see before, and see how he's now manifesting all that anger to make sure that he even accepted death in this case, right? He was ready to do everything he can to at least defend his own people, and making sure that, well, if they're not gonna let us out, then we're gonna make sure we get out, right? So just the amount of raw, powerful performance that we saw out of Andy Serkis just in that whole sequence, especially when he's talking the microphone and giving that whole message to his people, all the prisoners, that was just incredible. And then of course it's just it makes your heart sink knowing that, well, after everything he went through, he can't swim. So I wonder what's going to happen to him. Does that mean that that's it? We're not going to see him again? Does that mean he's doomed? I do have a lot of questions about that. But that was definitely the most shocking thing about that, is that he went through all of this only to see that in the end he probably may not be able to get out as he would have hoped, because he can't swim. So I wonder what that's going to lead up to. I'm hoping that maybe we get to see him again. I don't know yet, but I'll probably see in the next episode. On top of that, whereas we have Kino Loy being, that person who's being the voice for all of them, right? Now we have Cassie and Andor, where we really start to see more of the casting that we see in Rogue One, right? This is a rebel who's ready to, go up against basically the oppressors, to make sure that he wants his freedom. And I think after everything that's happened in Narkina 5, we start to really see more and more of the Cassian that we see in Rogue One, where he's now kind of getting to that point where he's motivated to fight up against the Imperial, the Galactic Empire. And the more I saw this episode, the more I really start to see more of that Cassian that we were going to see. And that's something I've been, talking about, how even though, like we saw in the beginning, that he was, someone who was selfish, who really cared about himself, was a thief, he wasn't the most righteous man that we initially thought he was from Rogue One. But we've seen the evolution that he's gone through from, just searching from his sister to now having been a prisoner who's now ready to, rise up against the guards, the Imperial, basically the whole Galactic Empire. And we saw kind of him really just showing off that part of him. And again, this is just a tip of the iceberg of what we're going to see. And again, I hope that we're going to start seeing more and more of him getting closer to the Rebel Alliance. That's something I'm going to assume. Like, we all are pretty, confident it's going to happen at some point. It's a matter of when, not if, right? So, lots of great development here. I mean, this was definitely a bit more of a not action-packed, but definitely a lot more going on because of how intense it was, how, there was a lot of thrill to it, just them having to execute this whole plan that we see, and just all that really starting to pay off for the most part, except for, what happened to Kino Loy, right? So that was definitely, I think in terms of all the episodes we've seen so far, this is definitely one of the highlights at this point, or even a standout at this point, just because everything that has kind of built up to that point, just to build up to this act right here. I don't know if that this is going to be the final act. I mean, we still have 2 more episodes. I'm going to watch the next episode in a second, but there is a lot going on in this, and we're starting to see a lot of this development. And yeah, we've seen characters like, Kino Loy, Biggs, and all of them, right? And it's like, they are all important in some way of some form. And we're seeing how they all are kind of, inspiration to who Andor will becoming someone who has a bit more motivated in their cause and all sort of stuff, right? So I'm very intrigued to see more of that going forward. I know we're still going to have another season after this, so a lot of great Andor content. Again, this is where I really appreciate just this whole show just being, not about the gimmicks, not about the fan service, not about, special cameos. It's all about trying to tell a story, a very cohesive story that is, focused on a character and the people around him, and how, because of everything that happens to him, that it eventually gets to the point where we're going to see more of the Cassian that we'll see from Rogue One, and we're really starting. And I really appreciate how they're really narrating all of his origin story, his motivation, all that sort of stuff, just to get to that point. And you have to really give credits to Tony Gilroy, I believe, for just really, being spot on, being focused on, like, hey, I want to make a Star Wars story that is giving a story that actually has a beginning, middle, end, not just, some random stuff going on, not like having a dull moment. Like, I want this to be a very focused project, and we're seeing kind of the hill that Cassian's going through, but it's a hill that is worth, going through. And again, I really enjoyed this episode right here. I mean, it really kept me captivated, just seeing what's going on, and not just like, seeing what's happening in terms of just, the actual the actual uprising that's happening, but also just what the characters are doing. And not just that, but we also see more of like behind the scenes stuff, like Mon Mothma, and Luthen. I mean, just to see Luthen just come out, right? I mean, he didn't have a huge appearance in this, but just for him to really just address the sacrifices that he had to go through just to, get up to this moment, because he knows that he's very close to reaching a point where the Rebel Alliance are going to be at their peak, where they're going to not just be the genesis of it, but really start to become a threat to the Galactic Empire as they had anticipated to be. And we're really seeing how this is starting to get in everyone's nerves, but how everyone has to also stay in line. And we start to see that here as well with the mole that we now see, who even though wants to, leave, he can, because he does have a purpose to serve. But yeah, this is a great series. I mean, I love how it is so, like, I mean, it has all the political, it has all the espionage-esque type of thing. I mean, this is why the show is so greedy in the way it is. It fits the whole angle of it, and again, I really, really love the show. I mean, it's really unfortunate not a lot of people are seeing it. I mean, this is the peak of Star Wars content that we should have been getting for a long time, aside from, you know, Mandalorian. Mandalorian's kind of its own thing, but in its own, like, you know, league. But even with Andor, like, I like having been through Book of Boba Fett, having been through Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's like having gone through all those disappointments, that it's really nice to finally see a story that is a story. And even if it's not, you know, the fan service, I appreciate more what we're getting here now than what we got in some of the more recent Disney Plus shows that we've been getting. But yeah, let me know what you think. Have you seen episode 10? I'm assuming you may have already. What are your thoughts? How did you feel about the whole sequences for the uprising? What do you think about Cassian's character arc at this point? What does this mean? What do you think? I mean, do you think that the writing has been great? Do you agree with or disagree with kind of my comments about this? And yeah, have you been telling your friends to watch this show? Because I mean, honestly, I recommend it at this point. Like, I can't wait to see the last 2 episodes. Let me know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe.